Okay, so I promised this a while ago, but we finally have it, the updated tier list. Now, before I start, let me just say this is my opinion, so before you jump in defending your favorite chrono, the way to rank all these chronos, because they're all so different, is going to be really hard putting them all in one tier list. So although this is going to be my opinion, because some of these classes are literally farming classes, support, solo DPS, whatever. So I'm just going to do my best to rank them wherever I think is suitable. Okay, so starting off with Infinity Knight / Interstellar Knight, immediately goes to C tier. Now, C tier is actually kind of generous. I should probably put in D tier because of just how pointless it is to get it. Like, why on earth would you get this instead of getting Shadowwalker of Time or Nechronomancer or whatever? And the other thing is, since most of its damage is done in DOTs, it doesn't benefit as much from damage boosting weapons, so if you're a higher level player, it's even more pointless to get. Also, it doesn't even have that good survivability, it has really no big strong points. It's probably one of the weakest chrono classes there right now. Not long ago, it did get revamped, but it's crazy that it's still one of the weakest there is. Seriously needs a buff. Next class on the list is pretty much just as bad, Chrono Chaorrupter. I didn't actually make this tier list from, worst to best or anything. I have two classes that are in the same tier. It does not mean one is better than the other. They're not in order. Chrono Chaorrupter is just pretty disappointing. It doesn't have great survivability and it definitely doesn't have the greatest DPS. But don't be too upset if you got Chrono Chaorrupter because, like I said, it is a chrono class and pretty much any chrono class is good. Is every chrono class worth 6k ACs? No, but they all deal hella high damage compared to normal classes. Next on this we have Shadowwalker of Time. Now this might be a little controversial that I didn't put in S tier, but the thing is, its best quality is chain kills, because it can stack its DOT pretty much infinitely high. It can kill a boss like multiple times in a row, really quickly. And it's also surprisingly good at farming as well, as it does have some multi-target skills. But the main reason I put in A tier and not S tier is 1, it's kinda complex and it will take some time to learn, and 2, its time to kill just one boss and not killing it multiple times is worse than like most chrono class on the list, which can kill a boss just once faster than like Shadowwalker of Time can. Also, just like any DOT class, it doesn't benefit that much from damage boosting weapons like those do, which rely on crits. Okay, next up we have Underworld Chronomancer. So I'm going to put this in S tier. It is very similar to Time's Chronomancer. All the skills are the exact same, only difference is the consumables. Now I'm going to put Timeless in here as well at the same time, and they both have amazing DPS. The biggest issue I think with these classes is that they're kind of complex to use and people don't want to learn them fully. Like many people, I had this class in my bank for almost a year before I learned how to use it. I only learned how to use it because I wanted to make a YouTube video on it, and I did, and I made a guide which has a really simple combo in it. And ever since I learned that, I pretty much kept it in my inventory and have been using it for any high HP bosses. So yeah, in terms of DPS, it's the best class on the list. And also, it can reach 100% dodge if you check out my guide in the description. So it can solo pretty much any monster, and it also has the highest DPS in the game. It's obviously S tier. Alright, the next class we have is Timekiller / Timekeeper. I'm going to put this in A tier because of two reasons. One, it has really good party DPS. And anytime you're killing a big boss, you most likely are going to be in a party. And also, it has really good dodge with full advancements. It can actually reach, I think, almost 100% dodge. And so pretty much can kill any like high-hitting boss. And also, it has high DPS as well. Just a fantastic chrono class, and it's not that complex to learn either. Next we have Eternal Chronomancer. I'm going to put this in B tier. It has great solo DPS, great group DPS, and it also has decent survivability, but nothing special. All around, pretty solid chrono class. Great for taking down monsters with high HP, but not that high damage. And next we have Chrono Commandant, which I'll also put in B tier. Chrono Commandant, it's actually quite tanky, and so it's great for monsters with high damage, and it's also really good for some Ultra Boss comps. And this is why I've put in B tier rather than any lower, just because of how common Ultra Bosses are nowadays, and how useful it can be in Ultra Bosses. Its only main downside though is that its solo DPS isn't that great, so as a pure soloing class, yeah, there are better options. If you're looking for like a big nuker, do not pick Chrono Commandant. You're better off picking Timeless Chrono or Underworld Chrono. And next we have Quantum Chronomancer, which I'll also put at B tier. Downside, solo DPS. If you're soloing by yourself, not that great of a nuker because that's not its job. It's mainly a support class and it does support fantastically. So even if you're supporting and you don't see nukes as high as you'd get with like Eternal Chronomancer or Timekeeper or whatever, that's fine because a lot of your party DPS will be because of your huge supporting ability and your ability to increase party DPS. Also, it is a very good class in some Ultra Boss comps. So, definitely pick it up if you want to use it for that. Otherwise, if you want a big nuker, like I said, Timeless Chrono, Underworld Chrono. And next we have Chronomancer Prime, which I also put at B tier. I think its biggest strength is that it just does big orange numbers, very simple to use. It can't handle monsters with like super high damage, so it's not meant for that. But its own DPS is very good. If you just want a really simple class to use and you want to deal huge crits, Chronomancer Prime is a great option. And next we have Nechronomancer, which recently has gotten a buff. I was at first going to put it in D tier because of just how bad it was before the buff, but now S tier. It is officially in top 3 farming classes right now. And in some situations, it is better than Legion Revenant as a farming class. Now of course it's weird because this is the only farming class in the whole list, and so it's weird to compare it. But just as a pick for anyone, you can go from like level 1 to level 100 with this class and not really need anything else unless you want something to tank high damage monsters. And what's weird is, although it does such a great job at farming, even beating Legion Revenant in some situations, it is actually a fantastic soloer. It can deal huge nukes in the form of damage over time, and you can deal well over 100k damage non-boosted with its DOT. So fantastic class overall, definitely worth picking up if you don't already have Legion Revenant or a Master of Moglins. And next we have Void High Lord. Now obviously Void High Lord is not Chrono class, but it's become kind of a tradition just to put it in there anyway, so people can have a comparison of what it's like against other Chronos. And I think I'm just going to put it in B tier. I was considering putting it into A tier, but essentially Void High Lord is like probably has the most consistent damage, seeing as it doesn't rely on just one nuke. And also its survivability is insane. It basically has the best survivability out of all these classes, not including full dodge. Because of course some classes can reach full dodge, therefore being better. But defensively, it's fantastic. Offensively, it's also fantastic, very consistent. You don't need to worry about hitting that nuke every time. And also, it can farm very, very well. So, it's the entire package in one. It's just a fantastic class to have overall. If I was a new player and I didn't have any of these classes, I'd rather have Void High Lord than any of pretty much these B tier classes. I'd say it ends up like a high B. Not that I've arranged these in terms of best to worst in B tier, but if I were to, I'd probably put Void High Lord quite high. And finally, we have Chrono Dragon Knight. Now with Chrono Dragon Knight, its main ability is how high its DPS it can reach in groups, and its main strength is in groups. If you're in a group and you want huge DPS, pull out Chrono Dragon Knight. The downside is, in terms of soloing, it doesn't have that good survivability and DPS like some other classes, and relies quite a bit on RNG, and so it's a bit situational. I wouldn't recommend it just because of how situational it is, and there's so many better Chrono classes that can do stuff better overall. And also if you want huge DPS, you could just pick CCM or UCM. But yeah, Chrono Dragon Knight would not be my first pick if I was to choose Chrono. And that is my calendar class tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What would your tier list look like? And have a nice day.